England just bottled another World Cup semi-final, 60 years of hurt and counting. Same story, different decade. Something has to change, and this time the excuses have run out. And if you want to understand why, you only need to look back at exactly how this latest heartbreak unfolded. 7. The mental side is still broken. Lionel Messi and his teammates got under England's skin with a mixture of niggling fouls, provocation, and pure composure under pressure. And England folded exactly the way they folded against Croatia in 2018 and France in 2022. England led Argentina 1-0 in Atlanta, thanks to Anthony Gordon's brilliantly taken goal in the 55th minute. It looked for the first time in 60 years like the wait might finally end. And then Thomas Tuchel's side went completely passive, dropping into a back five and inviting pressure they had no business inviting. Jordan Pickford was forced into a string of outstanding saves to keep England ahead as Argentina piled on relentless pressure through the second half. Argentina simply squeezed the life out of them from that point onward. Enzo Fernandez equalized with a stunning strike from 25 yards in the 85th minute, and Lautaro Martinez finished the job soon after in extra time. This is not one bad night. This is a pattern that keeps repeating itself at the worst possible moments. England have the individual quality to compete with anyone on the planet. What they consistently lack, tournament after tournament, is the psychological steel to hold a lead when the biggest stage starts squeezing back. 6. Stop building around one player. That mental fragility is only half the story though, because part of the reason England folds under pressure traces back to how the team itself has historically been built. For years, England built their entire attacking identity around Harry Kane, and while that reliance is finally starting to loosen, the underlying habit has not fully disappeared. When Kane has a quiet game, and Bellingham's magic doesn't show up either, the whole structure wobbles, because there has never been a genuinely clear system underneath them that fringe players can simply step into without everything looking different. Compare that to a team like Argentina, where Messi is special, but Lionel Scaloni has built layers of tactical clarity around him that survive even when he has an off night. Take Messi out of that side and Argentina still knows exactly how to play. Take Kane out of an England side built too heavily around him, and for years the identity simply vanished. England need a defined identity, a way of playing that does not collapse the moment one star goes missing from the team sheet. 5. The media needs to stop manufacturing division. While the players work to build that identity on the pitch, English football keeps undermining itself off it. This tournament gave us a perfect example. After England scraped past Norway in extra time in the quarter-final, Tuchel made an honest, slightly clumsy comment in his second language about the performance lacking consistency, despite Bellingham scoring twice in that very game to send England through. It was blown up into a full-blown feud with Jude Bellingham, England's best player, dragging both men into a media storm neither of them actually started. Bellingham called the win lucky himself, echoing Tuchel's point almost word for word before the narrative machine kicked in regardless and turned two aligned opinions into a supposed rift. Tuchel insisted the comments were football analysis, not a personal attack, and even held a private meeting with the squad to clear the air before facing Argentina. Harry Kane had to step in publicly just to calm things down before a World Cup semi-final against England's fiercest rivals. English football press has a long damaging history of manufacturing conflict where none genuinely exists, and it does real harm to team unity at the exact moments unity matters most.
Hey fam, this is your chance to build the jersey collection you've been waiting for. The Goal 90 bundle deal is live. Buy 2 jerseys and get 10% off. Buy 3 and get 15% off. Buy 4 and get a massive 25% off. Club kits, country kits, retro classics, pick your favourites and save big. And yes, every order comes with free worldwide shipping. The deal runs only until the end of May. Goal 90 bundle deal. Buy more, save more. Shop now at Goal 90 Shop.
4. Trust young players when you pick them. That same lack of trust extends beyond the media and straight into team selection itself. Kobbie Mainoo started at Euro 2024 as a teenager and looked completely at home on the biggest stage in European football. Since then, he has struggled badly for consistent trust and minutes under Tuchel, watching from the sidelines despite already proving in a genuine tournament setting that he belongs at this level. If a player is good enough to start a European Championship knockout match at 19 years old, he's good enough to be given a genuine run in the side 2 years later, not parked on the bench the moment things get tight or a bigger name becomes fit again. English football has a long-running habit of throwing young players in once, celebrating the breakthrough, then quietly losing faith the second a more established name becomes available. 3. Stop losing late bloomers to other nations. That same pattern of losing faith too early explains one of the most painful problems in the entire English system. Antoine Semenyo, Ademola Lookman, Michael Olise, 3 genuinely excellent attacking players, all with legitimate ties to England, all now representing other countries because English football either overlooked them too early or never gave them a genuine pathway back into the setup. Olise spent 7 years in Chelsea's academy before leaving at just 14 years old, eventually developing into one of the most exciting wingers in Europe for someone else's national team entirely. Semenyo has openly said he was never really considered by England at all, describing himself as never being in the conversation despite his obvious quality. These are players who could be strengthening the England squad right now, adding genuine depth and competition for places across the front line, and instead they are scoring against it or watching this tournament from elsewhere entirely. A proper late development pathway would stop this bleeding for good. 2. Give English coaches a real chance. The pathway problem does not stop with players either, because it runs straight through the coaching ranks too. Look around the Premier League's traditional Big Six right now. Every single one is coached by a foreign manager except Manchester United. Many of these coaches were not even better players than their English counterparts during their own playing careers. Some barely played at the top level at all, yet they are trusted with the biggest jobs in the country, while talented English ex-professionals are funneled straight into punditry instead of coaching badges. Too many talented former players end up behind a microphone rather than in a dugout, partly because clubs rarely give them a genuine chance, even starting at youth level, to develop as coaches and learn the trade properly over time. Spain, Germany and Italy all produce homegrown coaches who understand their national footballing culture from the inside, having lived it as players first. England keeps outsourcing that job entirely. The one is build one clear national identity top to bottom, and that brings us to the biggest structural fix of them all, the one that ties every single other point on this list together. It starts with looking closely at Spain. Luis de la Fuente did not arrive at the senior Spain job from nowhere or with no track record. He managed Spain's under-18s, then their under-19s, leading them to a European Championship in 2015, then their under-20s, winning another European title in 2019. By the time he reached the senior team, he already understood exactly how Spanish players are developed, coached, and asked to play the ball out from the back at every single age group, from the youngest academy sides all the way to the national team. England has no genuine equivalent thread running through its academy system. Different clubs teach completely different tactical principles, meaning players arrive in the senior squad with wildly different footballing foundations and habits that have to be untangled at international level. Spain's academies all speak the same tactical language, top to bottom. English academies still do not, and that inconsistency shows up exactly when it matters most, on the biggest stage, under the most pressure. 7 changes. One uncomfortable question underneath all of them. Is Thomas Tuchel still the right man to fix this, or does the FA need to start fresh? Calls for his sacking have only grown louder since Atlanta. 60 years of hurt will not end by accident. It ends with structural change, not another summer of nearly. What change do you think England needs most? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Catch you in the next one. Bye.